Ugh. I tried to make sure most of them were in the free or the subs- level 1 subscriber. I only have 2 that are higher than level 1, so. Man, my fireplace is loud. Am I just hearing it loud? Let me check that real quick. Okay, that's good. But anyway, the Casebook of Sherlock Holmes. Preface. I fear that Mr. Sherlock Holmes might become like one of those popular tenors who, having outlived their time, are still tempted to make repeated farewell bows to their indulgent audiences. This must cease, and he must go the way of all flesh, material or imaginary. One likes to think that there is some fantastic limbo for the children of imagination, some strange, impossible place where the bow of Fielding may still make love to the bells of Richardson, where Scott's heroes may still strut, Dickens's delightful cockneys still raise a laugh, and Thackeray's wildlings continue to carry on their reprehensible careers. Perhaps in some humble corner of such a Valhalla, Sherlock and Watson may find a time and place, while some more astute sleuth with some even less astute comrade may fill the stage which they have vacated. His career has been a long one, although it is possible to exaggerate it. Decrepit gentlemen who approach me and declare that his adventures formed the reading of their boyhood do not meet the response from me which they seem to expect. One is not anxious to have one's personal dates handled so unkindly. As a matter of cold fact, Holmes made his debut in A Study in Scarlet, and in The Sign of Four, 2 small booklets which appeared between 1887 and 1889. It was in 1881 that A Scandal in Bohemia, the first of his long series of short stories, appeared in Strand magazine. The public seemed appreciative and desirous of more, so that from that date, 36 years ago, they have been provided in a broken series which now contains no fewer than 56 stories, republished in The Adventures, The Memoirs, The Return, and His Last Bow. And there remain these 12 published during the last few years, which are here produced under the title of The Casebook of Sherlock Holmes. He began his adventures in the very heart of the latter Victorian era, carried it through the all too short reign of Edward, and has managed to hold his own little niche even in these feverish days. Thus, it would be true to say that those who read him as young men have lived to see their grown-up children following the same adventures in the same magazine. It is a striking example of the patience and loyalty of the British public. I had fully determined at the conclusion of the memoirs to bring Holmes to an end, as I felt that my literary energies should not be directed too much into one channel. That pale, clear-cut face and loose-limbed figure were taking up an undue share of my imagination. I did the deed, but fortunately no coroner had pronounced upon the remains, and so, after a long interval, it was not difficult for me to respond to the flattering demand and to explain my rash act away. I have never regretted it, for I have not in actual practice found that these lighter sketches have prevented me from exploring and finding my limitations in such varied branches of literature as history, poetry, historical novels, psychic research, and the drama. Had Holmes never existed, I could not have done more, though he may perhaps have stood a little in the way of the recognition of my more serious literary work. And so, reader, farewell to Sherlock Holmes. I thank you for your past constancy, but can hope that some return has been made in the shape of a distraction from the worries of life and the stimulating change of thought which can only be found in the fairy kingdom of romance. Arthur Conan Doyle.